As we welcome in members of PWHL Vancouver, I'd like to acknowledge my colleagues, Mandy Gutman and Ashley McClellan, who have been actively contributing to our press releases, player announcements, and building these media availabilities. In your inboxes later this afternoon, you will receive an advisory outlining details regarding coverage for Monday's expansion draft. Part of which will include some media availability with our general managers, Megan Turner from PWHL Seattle, Kara Gardiner-Maury from PWHL Vancouver, in a virtual availability soon after the completion of Monday's expansion draft. And at that time, we'll also follow up with details so we can have some of the players selected in the expansion draft a part of these virtual availabilities as well. For fans in both PWHL Seattle and PWHL Vancouver, season ticket membership deposits are now available for $50 to secure your spot in line for when tickets sales begin later this off-season. Games, of course, in PWHL Seattle, we played at Climate Pledge Arena, and in Vancouver at Pacific Coliseum. With that, it gives me great pleasure to welcome in our first 5 members of PWHL Vancouver, all signed by General Manager Kara Gardiner-Maury in the exclusive signing window. So with that, please welcome Claire Thompson, Sophie Jaques, Emerance Maschmeyer, Sarah Nurse, and Jenn Gardiner. I'm going to ask each of you to, first of all, congratulations and thank you for your time today. Before we get to the Q&A, and I see a lot of hands, I'd just really like to hear from each of you to tell us what it means to be part of this historic moment in professional women's hockey, year 3 expansion, and being part of the foundation that will become PWHL Vancouver. We'll go down the line in order that your signings were announced. So Claire, Sophie, Emerance, Sarah, and Jenn, please.
Well, thanks for having us. It's an exciting day and an exciting week. I think the opportunity to be part of something new in a Canadian city like Vancouver that had such fantastic attendance at the Takeover Tour, it was a no-brainer for me to try to be a part of this as soon as I could.
Yeah, I think just going off of what Claire said, I was a little bit jealous of the girls who got to play in the takeover game in Vancouver. And I've always think it was a super fun city, and the support they've shown for women's sports over the past few years. I'm just really excited to get a chance to play there.
Hi everyone. This is obviously a historic moment for, our league, and we're really excited to be a part of it. And I know I'm personally excited to be going back out west. I'm sure I'll have more family out in the stands this season. But kind of like Sophie said, Vancouver's a wonderful city, big hockey fans, and I know I'm very excited to get in front of that community.
I think just to echo off of what the girls said, I've been able to play in Vancouver twice, once last year at the Takeover Tour, and then once as well with Hockey Canada. And I've always been blown away by the amount of support and the real longing and wanting of professional women's hockey in the West Coast. And so I'm just excited that the time is now, and we get to be kind of the foundation for the future out west.
Hi everyone. Yeah, super exciting day. For me, coming home and getting the opportunity to play in Vancouver was a no-brainer as well. It was just something that I wanted to be a part of, and the Takeover Tour on January 8th was an eye-opening game for a lot of people. I think it's really exciting because female hockey has always been out west, but I think it's now finally getting the recognition and the stage, and all of us here are really excited to be part of the first team and start building the foundation like Nursey said.
Thank you all. I do see a number of hands raised. A reminder to folks that may have just joined, if you have a question for any of our PWHL Vancouver players, please use Zoom to raise your digital hand. And a reminder to our media, when called upon, kindly unmute, introduce yourself and the media outlet that you are representing. In interest of time and the number of media we have participating, please limit your questions to 1 and a follow-up, and we'll of course circle back as time permits. Erica, we'll start with you, please.
Thank you, Paul. Erica Ayala with CBS Sports and the Women's Hockey Report podcast. Nursey, coming to you for this one. As far as I know, this is your first expansion draft, probably the first one for everyone. So can you walk us through what the process was like from your vantage point? What were the conversations with Toronto and then, of course, with Vancouver?
I think I kind of, I didn't know what to expect. I think I took a little bit of comfort in that first free agency period that we had before the PWHL actually started. So I kind of knew how that one went, and how everything happened so quickly. So going into the morning the other day, I kind of had a feeling that things were going to move quickly. And I had conversations with Seattle and Vancouver, and when Kara wanted to speak to me directly and kind of share her vision and what she saw for the organization and how I could fit into obviously the 3 signings before and the signing that came after me as well, and Jenn. I really believed in her, and I think she believed in me. And so the day was kind of crazy, was very unexpected. And I think after I was able to speak to Gina in Toronto and just thank her for everything, and understand that I think both organizations are going to be in a pretty great place going into next season.
And my follow-up for you, Sarah, also, you talked about having conversations with Kara. Obviously, you've seen who is joining the team with you as of right now. What do you believe will be kind of the identity and the vision of this team just early on with the foundation that's been laid?
I think knowing Kara at her core, it's really about the people and the culture that she wants to cultivate. Like, she wants to bring good people to this organization. And I'm very proud to be in this group with Claire, Sophie, Emerance, and Jenn, because I do believe we're all very good people. In terms of like on ice, I really see us being like a fast, very competitive group who works every single day to push each other to be the best possible players that we can be. Because I think that if we can push each other in practice in the gym every single day, it's going to be pretty easy for that to translate into a game scenario. And so I think we have a lot of work ethic, a lot of talent, a lot of skill, and a lot of heart in this group already. So I'm excited to see the expansion draft and the entry draft as well.
Thanks, Erica. We'll go next to Hayden, please.
Hey there, Hayden Godfrey, Toronto Star. Question for Sarah. A lot of Scepters fans are, things are bittersweet right now. They're excited for you in this sort of next part of your career, but are also very sad to lose you as someone who they came to know on and off the ice. What is your message to the Scepters fan base as you kind of embark on this new adventure?
Yeah, I've said it so many times throughout my career with the PWHL. Like, it is such an honor to play in Toronto. It's where I grew up. I always looked up to the professional sports teams there. And so to be able to see all of my jerseys in the stands, to be able to see the signs and see the messages that have been sent throughout my entire time in Toronto and also in the last few days have been so bittersweet. I think there's a lot of silver linings. I think we've been able to cultivate something pretty special. And I just couldn't be more grateful for all of the support. I think that Scepters fans have been consistently some of the best in the league, and having been in Vancouver actually with the Scepters last year, seeing so many Scepters jerseys on the West Coast, I definitely think will change going into this season. But I think that just speaks to the breadth of how big Toronto sports is. And so can't thank them enough for the support. Yeah.
And a very quick follow-up, if I may. Could you say a little bit more about your conversation with Gina? What was that chat like, and some of the things that you had addressed? I imagine it was probably a fairly emotional and heavy one given the last few years, but was just wondering if you could share a little bit more about that conversation.
Yeah, I think that Gina has known me for a very long time. I've been with her and Troy for, I guess, the last 6 or 7 years, just with Hockey Canada, and then also with the Scepters. And so I think there's an element of a real personal connection there and a lot of respect for each other. And so it was definitely a difficult and very emotional conversation that really started with the protection conversation a few days prior, just because the team in Toronto is deep. There's a lot of players who are worthy of being protected, and like all the power to their group moving forward, because they do have a great group. But definitely emotional conversation with Gina, but again, like, nothing but respect between us both.
Thank you, Sarah, and good luck.
We're gonna go to Gemma, then to Mike.
Hi there, Gemma Karsten-Smith with the Canadian Press. This is a question for Jenn. Jenn, I'm wondering if you can talk to us about what your thoughts and emotions were when you first heard that Vancouver was getting a team.
Honestly, like I still can't even believe it is actually happening. I think there's just been so many little girls that I've heard from that I work with, I coach in the summer, reach out, and that's kind of just touching on the importance of this team in Vancouver. And I think moving our league out west is just so exciting for everybody. But yeah, I really can't wrap my head around the fact that there's actually a team at home and I get to be on it. So it's just been a whirlwind of a 48 hours, and super excited for what's to come.
So building off of that, you were obviously so excited about coming to Vancouver, but it must have been tough to have those conversations with folks in the Montreal front office as well about like, do I want to be protected? Do I not? What were those conversations like for you?
Of course, yeah, I think similar to what Nursey said, like there's a lot of phenomenal players in this league, and on Montreal, obviously, each team can only protect 3 players, and so there was some hard conversations to be had, but knowing the reality and the landscape and just everything that was coming our way, I think there was a lot of decisions to be made. It's not an easy decision to leave the team that drafts you, the team that built you, all of the amazing relationships here. And I do love the city of Montreal and everything about it. And so there was a lot to think about, but when the opportunity did come up to get to go home, that was something that I did take.
Thanks, Gemma. Mike and then Chris.
Hi, Mike Ganter from the Toronto Sun. This one's for Sarah. You've always been very practical when it comes to the business side of sport of your career. How hard or how easy was it to separate the emotional side from the business side in a decision like this one? I mean, I know it wasn't all in your hands, but part of it was, obviously.
I think it's interesting because prior to the PWHL, for us, hockey was less businesslike, if that makes sense. It was more of like that personal and emotional connection. And so honestly, for me with Toronto, it was kind of building that business relationship with Gina and Troy because I already had the personal relationship. Because at the end of the day, this is a business. But when I think about the last, few months, I'm obviously on the PWHLPA. So I was kind of privy to some information about expansion and knowing that this is coming and kind of understanding like what the realities of what this could look like for not only myself, but so many players across the league. I really had to separate that because I obviously have a deep love for the city of Toronto. I feel like being one of the foundational players that kind of helped build the program there. It means so much to me. But at the end of the day, like when you think of an opportunity to go to an expansion team and to be able to bring what I bring off of the ice, but to be able to bring the level of play that I also bring on the ice, I think is something really special and something that Kara had recognized and identified with me, and something that I really appreciated because I'm really proud of all that I can do off of the ice and in the community. But at the core of who I am, I'm a hockey player, and I really want to be appreciated for that fact and know that my skill set can be really useful and a really big asset in a new market.
And just to follow up, I'm a little curious whether the Jocelyn Larocque trade sort of prepares a player like yourself for something like this.
In a way, I guess looking back, yeah. I remember when Jaques got traded. We love Jaques so much.
Yep.
She's an incredible leader, an incredible person, somebody that I've looked up to for so long. And after she got traded, so many of us looked back and said, wow, we thought Jaques was, untouchable. And that made us all realize that, no, this really is a business. And people make decisions. GMs are going to make decisions that are best for their team and their organization and ultimately what they want. And so I think looking back on that, yeah, it definitely was kind of a wake-up call. Welcome to pro hockey moment.
Appreciate that. Thanks, Sarah, and congratulations to all of you.
Thanks, Mike. Go ahead, Chris, followed by Tyler.
Hey, sorry, I didn't introduce myself the last time. Chris Sinclair with the Hockey News. This one goes for Emerance. I just wanted to maybe give you a chance to kind of reflect 2 years here in Ottawa. What did it mean to you? What were some of the things that you learned during your time here in Ottawa? And then what are some of those things that you're looking at? You're a foundational player now in Vancouver. So what does that mean to you as well?
Starting my career in Ottawa was my professional career. was nothing short of amazing, better than I could ever imagine. I think that I knew Ottawa was a hockey city, but I truly didn't realize how passionate the fans would be and how welcome we would be coming into our inaugural season. Yeah, I would say the last 2 years have been, I mean, there's been a lot of ups and downs, I would say, a lot that I've learned as a leader, as a goaltender, as a professional hockey player. It's my first time, experiencing being a pro. And so I would say that it's an exciting opportunity to have that opportunity to start build a culture from the ground up again with Vancouver. And I think kind of where we all stand, it's we all can take little bits and pieces from the organizations we've played for and implement it into our new culture. And so that's really exciting. And I'm really excited about my teammates that I have here on the call. I know that we have a great foundation already, just as our backgrounds, our resumes, and who we are as people, and in Kara. And I think we all align with her vision very well. So I'm just excited to see what that blossoms into.
Great. Thank you so much, Emerance. Thanks for everything over the last 2 years, and good luck to everyone in this next adventure.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Tyler, followed by Glenn.
Cool. Daily face-off. This one going back to you here, Emerance. I do have to ask, as a former goaltender, what does it mean to you emotionally, maybe personally, that the team went to protect Gwyneth Phillips over you, even though you were the foundational goaltender that Chris just mentioned?
Yeah, it's definitely been a journey, a bit of an emotional roller coaster, I must say. Gwen, I can't say enough amazing things about her. Off the ice, she's very silly, very goofy, someone I get along with really well. And she's obviously an incredible goaltender and had a standout playoff series. And so I have no ill will against her. Honestly, I'm very happy for her. I think that we both deserve starting roles. And so this is the best scenario where we don't, we're not competing for ice time, where we both get to own the net. And yeah, I mean, there was some tough conversations, but at the end of the day, I got injured, and that's a part of sport. And sometimes you're kind of dealt a hand of cards that you don't expect, but you have to manage. And so that's exactly kind of what I've been doing this season. I felt like I was in my flow and getting into the nitty gritty of the season, and I was unfortunately not able to finish it out. And so I'm just excited that I'm in a really great place right now, and I'll be ready to go from the puck drop of next season.
Awesome. And a quick follow-up. Let's get the former Minnesota players involved here. Claire, going from the high of 1 year, winning a championship with a team, and now kind of starting anew, even though with a really good young core. What does that mean to you to have that championship pedigree already in this league, and then maybe trying to bring that to Vancouver?
Yeah, obviously the Frost had an amazing season last year, and it was really exciting to join a group that had won the Walter Cup the previous year. I think there was a lot of experience in that locker room that really helped us ultimately be successful in the end down the stretch in the playoffs. And I think alongside Sophie, we'll be able to bring some of that to Vancouver, and the team's already looking fantastic with the players that we have. And I think throughout the expansion draft and then the incoming players draft, I think it'll be really exciting to put a group together that I think will definitely be able to challenge for and hopefully win the Walter Cup next season.
Awesome. Thank you all very much.
Tyler, Glenn, then Julian.
Hi, Glenn Dreyfus from Davy Jones locker room in Seattle. For Claire, I haven't been able to get in to see my doctor, and it hurts when I do this. What do you recommend?
I recommend you see a licensed doctor, not someone who has completed half of medical school.
Well, on a more serious note, tell me about making this decision to pursue a couple of really demanding careers.
Yeah, I think for me, I never imagined that there would be a choice. Growing up, there wasn't a sustainable professional women's league. And so when I was making career decisions as a young girl and throughout my college career, I really never expected to be a part of anything like this. And so I'm so grateful for the people that came before me that have given me the opportunity to make a decision, because that hasn't always been the case. And there are similar aspects to both. They're both demanding careers that require your best, require attention to detail and hard work. And it's something I love. And so I'm really just grateful to be able to do both. And yeah.
What specialty are you planning to go into after your hockey career?
At this time, I'm planning to do orthopedic surgery.
Well, thank you for your answers and also for your ethics in directing me to somebody who's licensed.
Of course, anytime.
Thanks, Glenn, for keeping things light. Julian, then Carol, please.
Hi, I guess the question will be for Emerance. I was curious about the moment. We haven't had a chance to speak about it. Just this moment where you get this big ovation during a game after you were the first to reach 1,000 saves in the regular season in this league, and basically getting injured seconds after the fans stopped cheering. Like, how was that moment like for you to I guess go through from one extreme to the other?
Yeah, it was very dramatic, I must say. I didn't plan to make 1,000 saves, and then I think maybe 1,001, and that was the end of the season. I think at this point I can kind of laugh about it, because it really was just that. It was very dramatic. I got the standing ovation, and it was such an honor to experience that in TD Place in front of our home fans, and then shortly after sustained that injury, which was very shocking and something that I've personally never experienced. I haven't had a long-term injury, so I mean, everyone said I think that it was a curse or whatever. It was, if we didn't announce it, you wouldn't have gotten injured, but that's just not the case. I think it's just a coincidence, and injury can happen at any point.
And also, just you've mentioned how the past few months, I guess past few weeks, have been a roller coaster for you. Just, I guess, imagine your family's was well established in Ottawa. I believe you have family members around as well in this region. So how was it a situation where you saw the writing on the wall with the way Gwyneth was playing, and you kind of expected you would be available for this expansion process, and how tough was it to deal with all this aspect of the situation?
Yeah, I knew that it was a possibility. Obviously, Gwyneth is an incredible goalie, and there's so much, her career is only just starting. And so I knew that there was a chance, and we didn't have conversations. Like, I only chatted with Mike on the day of our exit meetings, because at that, before that, we were focused on playoffs, and it quite frankly wasn't the time. So I knew there was a possibility. And even within my household, we kind of thought through all of the options and what our life might look like, plan A, plan B, plan C, what, we had no idea. And so going into the meeting, when I did find out, I wasn't shocked. It's like Sarah said, it's a business. And at the end of the day, Mike has a vision for Ottawa going forward. And for right now, I wasn't, a part of that vision. And, there's only respect between him and I, and, the Ottawa Charge. And like, at the end of the day, it's a business decision. And I think Glenn and I bring different things and different experiences, and they chose her at the end of the day, and that's okay. And so from then on, my family and I had conversations. Obviously, Beckham doesn't care. He's just happy to be with us. But we had, a few more logistics to sort out here going into the summer. And it's quite awesome to see how our extended family has rallied around us. They're already offering, babysitting coming in, flying in every couple of weeks, and everyone just wants to help. So I have no doubt that we'll settle into our new home in Vancouver, and we're excited for the opportunity. It's a new adventure for us.
All right. Well, thank you very much for everything you did in Ottawa, and all the time you've allowed us to in the past 2 years. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Julian. Let's try to get through our remaining questions in the time we have. Carol and Carissa, please.
Thanks, Paul. It's Carol Schramm from the Hockey News and Forbes Sports based in Vancouver. So congratulations to all of you on choosing to make the move out west. My question is for the Minnesota D pair, Claire and Sophie. I'm curious if you discussed this decision together before you decided to kind of make the leap hand in hand, or if it was sort of more of an independent thing. And just in terms of what you bring to the ice, I feel like we have a fun opportunity here where maybe Sophie, you can tell us about Claire's strengths as a defender, and then Claire, you can do the same for Sophie. Maybe start with Sophie.
Yeah, I think definitely we knew the expansion process was coming up. I mean, before we moved out of our apartment the day before, we found out who was being protected and what was happening in Minnesota. So we didn't have any time to scheme up any plans while we were still together. But definitely once free agency and stuff opened, we had been chatting to each other, knowing that we do work well together and that we've enjoyed playing together this past season. And I think just with how incredible of a city Vancouver is, it wasn't hard for us to make a decision to want to head out there and get to be a part of this inaugural season out there.
Yeah, I can echo that. We had definitely, once they announced the expansion draft, we had talked about how exciting these new cities would be for any players that get to be involved in these new seasons and new markets. Ultimately, we are different players, different backgrounds, so we made our decisions independently, but I think we came to agreements on a lot of the positive things, both about Minnesota, but also the positive opportunities that would be available to us in Vancouver. And so we were happy to reach the same decision at the end of the day. And I'm definitely excited to remain Sophie's teammate this upcoming season.
Will you be looking for a place together here in Vancouver?
Maybe.
Thanks a lot. Look forward to seeing you out here this fall.
Thanks, Carol. We'll take our final two questions from Carissa, then Kyle.
Hey, Carissa here from CBC Sports. Just a quick one for Sarah. I understand from your executive director with the PA that you have voted to publicly disclose your salaries. Just as the VP of the PA, can you talk a bit about that decision, why it was important to players, and kind of why you decided to do it right now as this expansion process is underway?
I think it's funny because when the league first started, I remember when they asked us about disclosing salaries, and we just didn't have enough information at that point. We didn't think that we could speak on behalf of the entire player group and player voice. And so I feel like that's kind of why it took so long. And then as we got to this point with expansion, I think that it just was almost a coincidence. And I know people probably aren't going to believe me, but it really was coincidence that we started talking about this. And then when expansion came up and free agency came up, we said players need to know so that they can negotiate for their value and their worth. And it's fair and transparent on both sides, from the league side to players. And so I really do think it was a coincidence, but ultimately our job is to protect players and set players up for absolute success.
And is the idea that it will eventually become, public knowledge as well?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the future holds for that. I do know that, like I mentioned, it was paramount and most important for our players and their agents to have access to that information. The league is still so young. There's so much growing and learning to do. And I think we'll be able to cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay, thanks.
Carissa, Kyle, please.
Kyle Cushman with The Score. Question for Claire. You signed a one-year contract and obviously have a lot on your plate going forward with medical school. I'm just curious where you're at on your plans post the 25-26 season.
Yeah, this is a question I answer often. I don't really have a great answer for you at this time. I think I'm just enjoying the opportunity to play professional hockey. And at the end of next season, I'll have the flexibility to make the decision that is best for me at that time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle, and to all of our media that took time on a Friday afternoon to join us online. Great opportunity to get to know the future of PWHL Seattle and, of course, PWHL Vancouver. Congratulations and our appreciation once again to Claire, to Sophie, Emerance, Sarah, and to Jenn, being part of history with a new West Coast team in Western Canada, Pacific Coast, PWHL Vancouver. And we will learn who your next 7 teammates will be on Monday night when the PWHL expansion draft presented by Upper Deck begins at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Media and fans can tune in live at the pwhl.com and on the PWHL YouTube channel for exclusive coverage. Media advisory to follow with those details and more. In the meantime, hope everybody enjoys the rest of their weekend, and thanks again to our players and to our media. This will conclude the call.